So now we go down to a regional level. Again, changing it up. So we've had government agency, non-profit-led initiatives, now regional government-led. So we have Dr. Grazia Guermandi, regional policy expert from Regione Emilia-Romagna, and you're a psychologist.
Yes.
Specializing in e-learning. And you started working in the HR area as a training designer back in 2000, and after 8 years you became a project manager for the regional government, where you are now, and you're currently in charge of the e-inclusion project Pane Internet.
Yes.
So I look forward to hearing more about that initiative.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon. As you said, I'm working for the regional government. The Regione Emilia-Romagna is in the center of Italy. It's quite a big region because there are 4,500,000 people, and so it's quite a big territory. And I'm going to tell you something about our main initiative. As you said, the name is Bread and Internet, and it's an inclusion program that we have started a few years ago in 2009. And then I will show you, and I will tell you something about our experience of testing an impact and a method for measuring the impact of local intermediaries that we have done in the last year. So I will start from the project because it's the background of the other activities. Bread and Internet, as I told you, is an inclusion program. So if you see the numbers in the slide, they give you the idea of what we do. We basically deliver digital literacy courses to citizens, and the model is very, let's say, spread in the territory because we organize our activities in many different municipalities. Some of them are very, very small, and when I say municipalities, I mean schools, libraries. So we use basically the networks that are already there. So it's very connecting with what you're saying here. I'm not going into details because we are talking about a specific action that we have done. And let's say that we are working with citizens and also with inclusion intermediaries, because since we are working with these networks of schools and libraries and also job centers, we are now focusing our attention to them as targets, partners, but also targets for helping them in doing their best. So we've been selected, I think it was 1 year ago, for mapping the intermediaries of Mireia, which is the research that Luca Misuraka presented earlier. And after this first experience, we were selected as a study case for, let's say, for making an impact assessment measure in our territory. Bread and Internet was the base of. Sorry, I'll go here. Second. Okay. So we decided to start a project within the project, which was called Bread and Internet and Jobs. Since we had been asked by several agencies in the territory for organizing something for unemployed people. We are facing this problem, as all of you, and it became almost an emergency. And so we decided to start a specific action. And with this specific action, we wanted to test the effect on employability of a digital literacy action. And Mireia was an opportunity for us for testing the effect of a digital literacy action on unemployed people. So we wanted to verify and evaluate if there were really improvements in employability after delivering a course for unemployed people. So that was the case that was studied within the Mireia research. As you see, I go, sorry, a little bit here backwards. the model of Mireia is quite complex, and it starts from a study of the context, the real context, and then step by step we arrive at measurement of the impact. So the question is it useful to do something? Okay, we have tested, unfortunately I can't see a map, but there's a map of the region. Probably there's a format problem. We tested this model in the territory. We delivered 14 courses for people unemployed, and we divided people in two groups. There was a group of people who were participants of our course, and the other one was just a control group. So we had two groups which were quite significant. And what we have seen, probably, I don't know if you can, oh yeah, you can see it, it's different. What we have seen is that providing a course for people who are unemployed, a course based on technology and so the internet used for finding a job, helps a lot. And we have used the Mireia framework, used this counterfactual analysis, and we have seen that people changed really their behaviors in job searching methods. This is very strong, it's a kind of strong main effect, and so people really started doing something different shortly after the course. So after, I think they were asked how they were searching a job 3 weeks after the course. So we found this interesting result. And then another important result was that people started to use internet for job searching in a very intensive way, which was something different from the past. And the number of offers that were given to them, especially to the people who were participants, increased. So we have found these interesting results, which were a proof that the activities were effective and that the role of the job centers was really important to help people to be more employable. A third effect that we found was, it's called nudge effect, and it means that people who have been trained afterwards help other people. So it's a kind of local effect on communities, and this is very important too. So what we have found basically is that, first of all, if you measure things, you have proofs of the effect and of the power of your actions. And so we have in some ways found that the intermediaries were very important and specific intermediaries. We are talking about the job centers. We have learned some lessons from Mireia, as you see, because it was kind of important pilot, because it was based on different measurements and with all these targets, and it was quite spread in the territory. So we have learned that the role of the intermediary is very important in promoting digital inclusion and employability. And we have, let's say, the proof, the numbers. And we have seen, of course, that there's still the need of making more strong coordination actions, because there are many different partners on digital literacy, on employment, and it's difficult. You have to involve all of them for having an effect. And then we have learned also that this culture of assessing and this idea to develop an impact assessment, let's say, culture, is something that it's not very spread, at least in our territory. And we think also that if you can prove the effects, it's easier to ask to have funds, of course. And we definitely not discovered because we imagined that, but we definitely realized that without these job centers and the involvement of the people working there, it would have been very difficult to find also the results. So we have seen that the intermediaries are very, very good and important for engage the target groups very quickly and effectively, and also for keep working on the results, because after, when you make a research or when you make a program, there's usually a beginning and an end. But after the end, what happens? They keep working on things, so they can strengthen the positive effect of an inclusion activity. For summarizing, our recommendations are, if an intermediary or an organization would like to prove this kind of effects, we think that it's first of all, it's very useful to use this kind of procedure. The contrafactual was very good for proving on actual data the real result, the changes on behaviors. So we would like to recommend to use at least something for measuring and monitoring the results in your territory. Be sure about all the privacy issues. We had problems in Italy, of course, because the law is not very simple, so it became very complicated too. And another important thing is to share the value and the knowledge that you acquired about with your study with all the partners involved. We are going to have a meeting in October. I think it will be around the 18th of October, with all these partners, with all these people who worked in the research project from the job centers. And we are trying to keep working on them and to share the values and the importance of the results. Okay? If you have any questions? Trovare internet is there.